If my mom saw this setup, she would be mortified. So I was thinking I have to have a revolutionary video idea or a revolutionary thought to yap about to make this video, but then I realized that I never really made an introduction to my channel. I mean, the people who don't know me have no idea where I'm coming from, so even if I started preaching about some new ideas, it would be like, girl, why should we care? We don't even know you. Which is valid, honestly. I thought I'm gonna do today what I do the best, which is just to yap about myself, past experiences, and what I think kind of validates my opinion. I think it's healthy to an extent to talk about or to think about yourself and your past experiences, to be able to look at them from a perspective of growth and to view them as something that you don't really have an emotional reaction to anymore. Or even if you do, that's fine and that's healthy. But I think it's very nice to look back after you have changed your mindset and to think back of how this has given you a chance to grow as a person. But I also think that can be too much, getting caught in the spiral and self-validating yourself into staying the same as you have been in the past. And I have had friends who've done this, and I've had friends we have done this together with, and I cannot stress enough how grateful I am to now have a friend that I live with who we're literally spending time together every single day, and this is a person who has the mindset which I really have been wanting to have for a while now, and she has the same kind of humor, she has similar goals in life, so that we can really keep motivating each other and we can inspire each other, we can comfort each other, and we can just laugh together whenever one of us is feeling down, which is super, super rare, and I am super grateful to have such a person. What is going on? Si, Anuka? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I feel like I'm going to pour water. What was I talking about? I was talking about how much I love Anita. So I am 22, which makes me feel a little bit old. Hear me out. I feel like the kind of things that I'm doing right now, I've kind of figured out who I am. I've kind of always known, but I have become honest enough with myself to be able to just be. I feel like 22 is too old to reach this point, which is a false statement. I feel this way because of the internet, and everyone else feels this way because of the internet. To be honest, I do feel a little bit silly being 22, sitting in a bathtub, talking about life, because it does feel like, I don't know, I should be so much more successful by now. But if I think about the fact that 2 years ago, I was a teenager, I can say I would much rather be here now and be the way I am with this mindset than to have finished university studying business and have a corporate job. Not saying corporate jobs are bad, studying business isn't bad either. I just feel like if I've gone through that, if I pushed through university and I finished all that, I would probably not be as happy as I am right now. After graduating high school, I was like, you know what? I don't want to live here anymore, and I just applied to Denmark, and then I got into uni, and then I just moved to Denmark. And then I lived there for 3 years. I remember that 18, I was a very anxious person. I was someone who was super, super scared of being alone. I was super, super scared of talking to strangers, to being in new places. And I was like, you know what's the best thing for me to do about this issue? To move to a whole different country where they don't even speak a language I can understand. For a long time, I was thinking moving to a different country is going to fix all of my issues. I thought my problem is Hungary. I thought my problem is being so close to the place where I grew up and feeling trapped. I kind of felt like this is all there is for me in life, and I felt like I'm not gonna see anything else in the world, which truly scared me. It scared me so much. But even if you go to a completely different place, if you do not realize that change starts with you, you will keep doing the same habits and keep doing the same stuff that you are unhappy doing just because it's familiar. Which is something I was doing actually. I was doing this when I moved to Denmark. And I was so confused. Like, why am I suddenly not fixed mentally just because I came here? Like, the freedom of being in a whole new country while nobody knows you, or at least for me, also speaking a different language feels like I can be a different version of myself. So it kind of was an opportunity for me to reinvent myself and restart in a sense. The only problem was that I didn't actually reinvent anything. I just thought it's going to happen on its own. The timeline is kind of messy for me to think about in a sense of like my relationship with myself, like making peace with myself and learning more about myself while I was also in the first serious relationship of my life. I learned so much about myself through being in a relationship, but it felt still like two separate timelines or like two separate storylines, because being a girlfriend was a new thing to me as well, and being myself was a new thing to me as well. So the kind of stuff I've learned about living on my own that I did not expect is that I'm actually very much capable of all of the stuff that I thought I am not, and all of the stuff that used to scare me. Even if I'm scared, I am capable of doing it. I decided that I'm gonna drop out of uni. I took the courage to tell my dad, like, yo, actually, I'm gonna study art, because I know he very much wanted me to study something more useful. When I was 18 and I finished high school, I was like, oh my god, if I start university this year right away, I can have my diploma by the age of 21. How sick is that? It's not worth it to rush into things if you're not sure about the fact that this is what you want to do. I do believe it's okay to take it slow. Now I realize that. But I feel like I have learned the most when it comes to people, when it comes to relationships, interpersonal relationships. Let me break it down. So when I went out of the country, I started to go to parties, like university parties. I started to like talk to strangers. I started to hang out with people who looked nothing like the kind of people I thought I would want to hang out with, but they ended up being usually the sweetest people I met. I had this very false idea of, oh, I'm gonna go to uni, these dreams about having this very close university friend group, because I was like on good terms with everyone in high school, right? And I felt like I could fit into any friend group if I wanted to, but I also felt like I don't truly fit in anywhere. So I felt I've always had this craving for a group of friends that is just everyone is at peace with everyone. Now I've kind of accepted that maybe I'm just the kind of person who might never get that in her life, because now as well my social life is more of like a friend here and a friend here and a friend there, and they might know each other. They might only know each other because of me, but we don't do big hangouts. But that's what I was yearning for. That was my biggest dream, going to university. And of course I didn't get that, but I got a boyfriend, I got a best friend, and I got another best friend who, you guys know the stereotype of like the introvert friend and the extrovert friend who adopts the introvert friend and then takes them out to every social gathering and introduces them to new people. That was us. So my life in Denmark kind of had first phase of like university, having a boyfriend and having my best friend there, and then my bestie left, and then I still had my boyfriend for a while, but that also went south within like half a year. And during that time I also dropped out of university. Why do I want to say high school all the time? And then I started working and I moved out of the dorms, I moved into my own apartment, and basically my life was all about working. And then I went through a tough period of trying to get over my breakup. If you're going through a breakup, you will go through that breakup. Like, girl, you're gonna be over that. Period. There is no other way. There is no other outcome. So now I can say that yes, it took me roughly 2 years to be able to not cry about it anymore. And now I just want to laugh at it, honestly. Like, now it just makes me want to laugh when I think about the fact that like I can be the way I am right now, because that breakup truly was such a big part of my personality for so long. But then I also started to, I fell into this lifestyle of basically doing nothing else but working my ass off and then going home, sleeping, having a very unhealthy sleeping schedule, and then going out every given chance of the week. That's okay. Like, I was a girl living alone and like I didn't really know anyone else other than a couple of people I've met during partying. Like, I didn't have any time and any other hobby that would require me to spend time in public, like to socialize in settings other than partying. So obviously everyone I met, our common interest was partying. So then the only way I went out to meet with those people was again partying, which led me to meet more people who were out partying. You see where I'm going with this? And that was also a very new thing for me compared to like how I was in high school, for example. And I felt like, oh my god, maybe this is it. I remember having these thoughts when I was like, I've never felt more alive in my entire life. I kind of got obsessed being stuck in this cycle of literally overworking myself because I felt like I'm so cool because I'm suffering, and then I would use all my money to party. So, okay, no, I actually saved up a fair amount. Like, that's why I was able to move here and not work for half a year. So I've made financially mature decisions. I have also made financially immature decisions at other times, but that's okay. Oh, actually, one thing I wanted to say, which I don't know how it's gonna connect to the rest of the stuff yet, but one thing I have learned living abroad and living alone and having to take care of myself was definitely to be able to stand up for myself, which I can still, I still have some space to practice. I should definitely be better. I have to improve more on that. The people who've known me in high school, they know I used to be very quiet, and I'm still not a very loud person. I generally keep my opinions to myself because I don't enjoy getting worked up over random stuff and getting into arguments with everyone, although I know there are people who do that for fun. I'm not one of them. If you have a different opinion than mine, I'm just gonna say, okay, unless you're not trying to harm other people, unless you're not attacking me, go sit in that corner, I sit here, and we just let each other be. I don't even want to converse with you. Just mind your own business, dude. I can also be a very understanding person, or I try to be. I try to approach everyone with an open mind and keep in mind that other people have their own experiences which differ from mine. So they could be coming from a place that I will never be able to understand. Sometimes I just can't do anything about it. I can't do anything to change their mind, which is okay. You don't have to save everyone in life, even if you think you know better, and even if you believe that you can be of help to them. It's not your job. So that's also one thing I've learned. I can say I am definitely good at to to remind myself to not be a people pleaser. Wow, why did that take me 22 years to learn? I don't know, but I feel like in today's world, there are a lot of people who struggle with people pleasing. When I think about it, it just makes sense in my head that it's about community and the craving to fit in and to be accepted, because we are all just incredibly scared of being alone. And we just hate the idea of not having someone to rely on or to care about us, and we feel like we need to perform or provide something to the other person in order for them to care about us and appreciate us and view us as someone useful, so that we feel a little bit loved. But I have definitely become better at not people pleasing, which has caused me conflicts. Actually, it has caused me misunderstandings with people, or to have like situations where they would be like, you know what, this was not very cool of you. And then I would be like, but this is a boundary of mine. And then at the end, it's possible to sort these things out, you know, like it's not the end of the world if you set a boundary and someone gets upset about it, because there are two ways this situation can go. Either the person is going to prove themselves to be an asshole and they're going to be not able to understand where you're coming from, but then at least they have showed to you that they are not a person who is able to compromise with you, and they don't value you enough when you are not trying to please them to actually make a sacrifice to make you feel comfortable as well. Or B, they can prove to be a good person and be like, oh, sorry, I just never knew this is where you stand because you never told me before. So then you can start a conversation about it. You can heal together your entire relationship and then kind of reintroduce yourself to them as a person who has this and this boundaries. So they also feel better about your relationship because they can learn what truly makes you feel good. And if they truly care, then they are going to make sure that you feel comfortable and that your boundaries are not crossed. It's that simple, actually. Communication is truly that simple. Can you hear that? What was the other thing I was saying? I think people pleasing is strongly tied together with my fear of being seen. So now I kind of hit two birds with one stone of just, well, kind of becoming more confident. These just took me a little bit more time than it takes other people to be able to walk into new places and not shit myself from anxiety, or to say when something feels bad, or to be able to just walk away. It's okay to walk away, and it's okay to be like not wanting more of something just because it's familiar and just because it's a situation or it's a relationship or it's a place where you have been for a very long time. It doesn't make you a bad person, which is something I really have to tell myself, because I do still blame myself for some of these things. As a previous people pleaser, it still is hard for me to say these things to myself and to accept these things. What is the time even? Ooh, perfect time actually. I have stuff to do. This is gonna be so much fun to edit. But this was me, V, from my bathtub with my candles. Wasn't it cozy? I like this, and I think I'm gonna come and yap here again a little bit more about other topics, because if I wasn't doing this, I would talk to myself anyways. Or I would just sit on my phone. So I'd rather do this because I don't know how to shut up. Okay, bye!